Well, hey everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Usually this is the time of the week when I say, oh, just a lazy Sunday here in South Alabama, but I've actually been kind of motivated today. I've been moving around this morning, nothing specific, just doing little bits here and there. I'm constantly downsizing this house. I've been shredding and burning papers, which I'm almost at the end of on that. So I've been burning papers this morning, cleaning up some things, doing some dusting, catching up on dusting. Golly, I've been sneezing. Oh, and I finally broke it out, and I am in the middle of doing the maiden voyage of my dehydrator. Doing some little cinnamon rolls, just a little simple, it's not even really a recipe that a friend gave me. Is basically you chop the bananas in half, dehydrate them for X amount of time, put date paste on them, roll them up, bing, bang, boom. But anyhow, today I want to talk about tips for staying motivated on a raw food diet. Guys, I do videos every day, so if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please go down there and subscribe right now. Then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. Even if you are subscribed to the channel, go check that. So how do you stay motivated on this lifestyle? So many people tend to get down, you know, they come out with a bang and they're all gung-ho, and then all of a sudden you just kind of see that that motivation, that energy, that excitement kind of just slowly wane away. One of the biggest things is always, and do whatever you got to do to remind yourself. Remind yourself of why. Remind yourself of your why specifically. That will help a lot. I mean, you know, I guess that's kind of in the realm of the mind more than the physical, but yeah, remind yourself all the time. It's reinforcements why you're doing this. Another one that that was really good for me to keep me motivated, especially after I switched over to this lifestyle. And if you remember, I went, you know, I didn't kind of go to plant-based and then whatever. I went high raw very early on. And what helped me a lot of times, like I've mentioned many times, I used to go get a slice. When I went raw, when I went vegan, part of my daily routine was walking downtown, you know, having a couple of beers and not stopping to go grab food in a restaurant, but I just stop and get a slice of pizza. So I would pass my pizza stands, you know, after I went like this, and I could still, you know, it still was appealing. Any of these people that are telling you they walk by something like meat or cheese or a pizza or something from their past and they're like, ooh, gross, they're full of shit. It still smells good. And you don't have to fool yourself on that. But what I would do is I would remind myself, because, you know, I'm doing all the reading those days of what it does going through the body. So every time I would see something like that, you know, I would kind of want to have, I would just imagine it going from my mouth as I'm eating it, what it's doing as my body as it's going through, what it's doing immediately to my body and what it's doing to my body long term. And that kind of ties into, you know, reminding yourself of your why. So that was big for me. Those two things were big for me. Another one is being creative. That is huge. That is huge, huge. And some people need it a little bit more. Some people need a little bit more stimulation than others. So, you know, once again, do whatever you need to do to make that work for you. I find for me, the creative, you know, and even after doing this thing close to 7 years, sometimes I'll come across a simple recipe that I really like, or I come across something, or I get this new dehydrator, or, you know, I decide on my own to come up with something new to eat, or even if it's not like a recipe, which they generally aren't, I come up with just some new something that I like, ooh, I like this a lot. So I'm always trying to be creative. I'm always trying to listen to myself as far as the creativity goes, like what's my inner dialogue, say, what am I missing inside? Like, you know, I've always talked about these voices in my head that talk to each other. That one voice that wants to be fed some of the bad stuff still. Like, what does he want? You know, what are some of those tastes that linger, some of those things that I would like to maybe do in a raw food version, or even just a vegan version. So getting creative. And as far as creativity, I would say, you know, try to be creative in mixing up even your fruits. It's not just a bunch of different recipes, but eating different fruits. You know, that's why seasonal can be very important, because you're changing your fruits as they come around. You know, I go for, I don't know how many months of the year I go when I don't have oranges. And then oranges come around and I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And I'm all over the oranges. And then it's watermelons like that too. So stay creative, whatever you got to do. Get yourself a couple. I mean, just because I say I'm like, okay, don't be obsessed with the recipes. It's not all about the recipes. The recipes are not going to do it for you. I would definitely say get yourself a couple of recipe books. And yes, get a recipe book. I've got a couple of recipe books. You know, I'm not all about paying this and doing that, but yeah, a couple of books aren't going to hurt you. I've got a couple of, even though I haven't used but one of hers, I've got a couple of Melissa's books from Raw Food Romance, and I actually have a couple of Chris Kendall's recipe books, not the pizza book. I'm actually going to order the pizza book, but you know, phenomenal recipes in there. I don't know why I haven't made more of Chris's recipes as well, but once again, now once I get something like that, like I've got Melissa's 30-day meal plan, her first one. She's got a new one out now. I got about 4, I've not made that many out of that one. I've just got like 3 or 4 or 5 recipes I really, really like, and I make those. I'll probably do the same out of Chris's. Now that I've got this dehydrator, I'm going to get his pizza book. So, you know, I've got, and plus the recipes I've come up with on my own throughout the years, the few that I've added to my repertoire as far as salad dressings and stuff go, and I can keep it fresh. It was a little harder coming from Costa Rica where I wasn't getting the fruit like I was used to, not even just for the fruit and wanting more fruit and wanting my mangoes, but also not getting regular mangoes kind of threw a little bit of a crimp in my recipes as well, because I used to do a lot of salads, you know, with some sort of a mango-based dressing, and not being able to get those in quantity, you know, I had to kind of rewire, find a few different types of recipes that use different things that I was able to get. There have been things up here that back home in Costa Rica, you know, there's certain items I got were so cheap. It was a super cheap dressing or ingredient or recipe to make. All of a sudden I get up here and maybe 2 items make that a little bit more pricey. So get your recipes. Trying new things, and that's not just about accumulating recipes. Some people, and I see this all the time, and I have zero, I guess it's probably because I didn't have kids, but I've been like this since I was younger. I got zero patience for people that are really limited, that they won't try new things. Like they're the people that are always, you know, holding back. They don't want to try it, or ooh, it may look funny, or ooh, it may look this. I don't have any patience whatsoever with a picky eater. So them, a lot of times I'll just be like, if I see somebody's being too picky and I'm like, I try to give them a suggestion, do this, do that, and they're like, yeah, I don't like this, I don't like this. I'm like, well, bounce. You need to go get your head examined and get somebody a little, you know, more capable than me, because I'm always about trying new things. Even as a kid, I was a mom's dream. I was never that one like, yeah, that looks funny, I'm not going to try it. I would try it, you know, and I had an uncle. Obviously, I wasn't eating the kind of food I was supposed to be eating back then, but I had an uncle growing up that probably helped in that area too, because he didn't play that thing with kids coming to the house and saying, oh, I don't like that, I'm not going to eat it. Now, he wasn't one of those taskmasters. He wasn't, you know, an asshole. He would be like the kids, and I always appreciated this, you know. He was like, you're going to try what I make. You know, he was a good cook, gourmet type cook. He's like, you're going to try what I make. You're going to taste a bite of it. If you don't like it, not a word will be spoken. There was none of this bugging, but he opened my mind to, you know, trying new things, and I encourage everybody. You may think you're not going to like it. It's not like it's going to kill you. Try things, try things. You can get rid of them if you don't like them, but and not being obsessive. I try to kind of, I think, work that message, the excessive or extreme thing, into every video. That tends to burn people out too as well. When they feel like any bite of cooked food is a failure and they jump all over themselves, give themselves a hard time, then it gets harder. Then there's a little bit more pressure. Then there's a little bit more stress. Then there's this whole, oh God, can I eat it? Can I do it forever? Can I do it all the time? And I think people just tend to lose motivation when they put themselves in that uber strict mode. I think sometimes it's as simple as, I've used this analogy before, when you're boiling a pot on the stove, you've got the top on it. Once that thing gets to a certain point, if you know, it's going to boil over, it's going to explode, it's going to have an episode. all you got to do sometimes is just let a little bit of steam out. Take the top off for a minute or two and it settles down. The analogy being, sometimes all you have to do is, you know, maybe you just don't have anything in mind tonight to cook, to make, maybe you don't know what you want, maybe you just have a case of the blahs, and a lot of times that might be your best therapy right there for your raw food diet, is just to eat something cooked. You know, have some steamed sweet potatoes, have something else that's kind of, you know, an acceptable cooked meal for you, whatever that might envision, and then you jump right back on. I don't know. You got to go watch other raw food people. Sometimes I get comments and stuff, and I said I don't disagree, but I'm like, okay, that you're on the wrong channel here, though. You know, it's like if you're one of those that's like, okay, if you're going to eat one bite of food and it's going to throw you into some sort of a heroin backslide or whatever, and that's the way you look at it, that's your belief system, I respect you, but you probably need to be watching somebody else, because I don't relate to that whatsoever. If I eat a steamed sweet potato today, no, it is not going to throw me into some downward spiral. So is what it is. But a lot of different ways to stay motivated. Keep it fun, keep it fresh, keep it creative. And you shouldn't have a problem with this lifestyle, because there's so many possibilities. That should be a motivating factor right there. Is like, you know, is when you really find out the truth about this diet, about this lifestyle. Like most outsiders think, oh, it's so boring. We're eating all this lettuce and grass and leaves and stuff all the time. And then you see all the possibilities. That should be motivation right there. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.